can see some numbers. I can see there's something attached to this item or someone around this item who is connected to water.
My name is Daniel Wooster. I live in Vineland Station, Ontario, and today I brought a Ouija board.
I keep seeing Christmas references, so we'll see if December has any particular meaning or if there's a reference to the next person who comes in.
When I was younger, my granddad was very important to me. My family and he had a rocky relationship for a while, so I didn't really get to know him for as long as I would like to, but he passed away at a very young age from cancer. And unfortunately, I wasn't there when he had passed. So in the hopes of that afterlife piece, I'm hoping that maybe I can hear that he's doing okay and that he's on to better things.
My name is Kelly Elson, and I am a psychic medium. I first knew I was a medium at the age of 13 when I had a dream about losing some of my friends, and I woke to find they died in a car accident. Now I use these abilities to help other people to find answers that they can't find anywhere else. The dead are not here to say goodbye. They are here to say hello. Oh, what have you got here?
Ouija board.
Well, yes. Oh my gosh. All right, let me get my hands on this for a second here. Now, I would love to know your particular connection to this, what it is that you do, and why this is the particular one that you chose to bring.
Well, what's interesting overall is that I've only really attempted to use the Ouija board maybe 2 or 3 times in my lifetime. I had a very unnerving and disconcerting experience when I was younger. But most recently with this board in particular, I was with the paranormal group that we're with, and we were doing an investigation in the Niagara region. So we ended up setting the board up on a very, very long table in the barracks of this particular location. And I was sitting as far away from it as humanly possible based on the experience I had when I was younger. But the board had started making inferences that it had wanted to connect with me directly.
Yes.
So I made my way over to the board and sat down, put my fingers on the planchet, and the very first question I asked, the pointer actually started moving towards yes, and then proceeded to take 2 other individuals and myself down the table and off the board completely, yes, back to where I'd been sitting initially. But then the second we left, we started making our way towards another spot on the grounds, and the board had dropped and had shattered and had broken clean in half.
Oh, I see.
After
this
that
is
incident.
Why. Yeah. Okay, fascinating. So very important dynamic to remember about the Ouija boards is that they are simply a tool. So they really have gotten a bad rap over the years. Yeah. We know they work with the subconscious. Yeah. So if we go in and we have any subconscious idea that they're evil, that we're going to get a sprite or a freaky energy come through, definitely our own energies will have a little bit of fun with us. Absolutely. As soon as the ego grabs onto anything that might be a little bit this big scary, suddenly it's this big scary. But I have had profound experiences with bringing through notebooks and notebooks full of profound spiritual information through Ouija boards. So again, I just need to say it to everyone. They are just tools. This happens to be particularly beautifully done piece of wood with some numbers, with some letters. They can't hurt anyone. So this is your board. And this is meant to be your board. Yeah. And it's meant to be in 2 pieces because it looks like you close it like a book. Well, I would like to acknowledge this male that's sitting beside you on the couch, if you're okay with that. Yes. Now, this is a different kind of a circumstance because you're connected to the other side. You're going to have, other people around you that may or may not be physically connected to you. One of the premonitions, again, that maybe doesn't fit with this, was a sense of something very strongly being connected to your dad. Now, your dad is still with us, is he? And so right away I know it's not him that's there, but do you remember his father?
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's who I feel is there because I felt a father figure, someone connected to a father figure that was very, very, very strong. And there is a heaviness that overtakes me right here. So this doesn't mean he's not okay. This might mean there was pneumonia, lung cancer, something that affected his breathing. Now, it's funny when you say they stopped breathing. Of course they did at some point. But this could also mean that you haven't had a death in the last year and a half.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so sometimes when they're showing me a heaviness here, it's not anything wrong. Sometimes we're sad for another person. There's someone that we care about, someone that we love that is either in peril or is in stress, or there's something going on there that we can't help. Again, it could be possible that he actually passed from something related to this part of his body. His wife's with him, is that correct? She's over there as well. You remember her too?
Yes.
And had Grandpa had passed first, had he?
Yes.
Okay, all right, because he's saying he's been over there just a little bit longer. She comes forward and she keeps trying to bring me to February. I'm not sure why. Whose birthday?
That would be his.
It's his birthday. Okay, all right. So she's just showing me hearts. There's a symbol for every single thing. The other thing that had come to my mind before was also the month of December. I kept just seeing Santa hats, Christmas trees. So usually that's not just Christmas is in December. Possibly there's a date there that's also relevant to you.
Yes, for sure. Christmas, unfortunately, was a time. This was after Granddad had passed away, where Christmas was actually the moment that we ended up kind of parting ways for a while with my granddad's wife.
I see.
Yeah, and unfortunately losing contact and kind of the decision on her end to break the connection, but that Christmas has always been kind of a time where that has been an issue.
So there's your grandmother and then there's Granddad's wife, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The Granddad's wife was a part of your life for a long time.
Yes, she was.
So she was like a grandmother. So you went through 2 deaths, basically. It was 2 losses. When we lose a person and they stay alive, it's harder on the brain than a death in a way, right? They haven't left, but you have to tear down that presence and then try to understand the person that's left. In that role, especially when they go through a change. But your grandpa goes like this, like about her. So, maybe we'll just leave that one up to interpretation, right?
Yeah, that would seem about right.
Yeah. So what's fascinating is that, I don't look at you and feel like, when you were 20 years old, which wasn't that long ago, let's face it, that you were like, hey, I need to be a paranormal investigator here. But you have always had a mind open to the unknown. And I think, again, you're very similar to a lot of us who look back in retrospect as we find new experiences and realize that, oh, that's what that was. Those seeds were there from the time I was quite young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have a brother, is that correct? Or?
I do have a brother that I found out about 7 years ago now.
Okay, so somebody over there is going, oh, right, I've had that happen. I've met a couple of them as adults. I'm like, is there any more? Just tell me now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I see a connection that was made there, and then I see this. So you still know him and know of him. Have you developed a closeness?
Not as much as I would like, but yes, we do see each other.
Okay, so your grandparents are just wanting to say that they see that he's there and they're glad that he's there. They're nudging. They're nudging and they're guiding us to be connected with these people that we're meant to know.
It's almost the idea of saying, you have the free will to make the choices. There are some things that we really want you to experience, but the road to get there is your choice.
It's your choice, So they've given me this ability, or I've recognized it. It's my choice to use it here, to use it on stage, and it's my choice if I want to get up and talk to an empty chair in front of 300 people. That's my risk, and I do choose to do it, and I don't think I'll ever stop. And I hope you never stop with what it is that you're doing. Because there's so many, as I've said before, it's a rabbit hole, and it's a rabbit hole that does not end. Every time we take another step, we open 5 more doors.
Absolutely.
And it's all, at the end of it, about understanding our power as human beings. And that, of course, at the end of it is about demonstrating that power so other people will be inspired to understand their power. And so the paranormal and even the occult, that's what it's been about for years. And that's why larger institutions have made people afraid of it, because it was empowering individuals to think for themselves and have a direct connection to higher frequencies. So I am so happy that this is like your pet. Like this, she has given this to you at this point. Yeah, this is yours. And it's so neat. I think you should just put a hinge on it, to be honest. Just put a hinge.
That's a good plan.
Just put a hinge on it, put it together, because that's your book of Daniel. Anyway, I really want to thank you for being here today. This was just amazing, and what an exciting thing.
I don't even know how you actually find the right words to discuss actually what happens in there, because everything you know in your head exactly what you hope to hear. And it's always so very interesting when someone sits back, almost like they're living in your head and goes, oh yeah, let's talk about this. So with this, I'm not quite sure if I'll hinge it or try to put it back together. I'm still on the fence as far as whether I'll use it again or not. But definitely it was very interesting to hear the responses in being positive about the board, and that it being an opportunity to communicate instead of it being more of a negative piece or something that I had been fearing previously. So it was nice to have my mind put at ease about that.
So my thoughts on Ouija boards is very simple. It's a physical object. It's a piece of wood with letters and numbers on it. My experience with a Ouija board over the course of years that would only really work well with one other person is that we channeled through tons of information on healing, on how the other side works, on how to stay grounded in life. We have notes and notes and notes and notes taken through just a cheap plastic Ouija board that we bought at Toys R Us.
Totally shocked that you brought up my grandfather. It's always been kind of a touchy subject for me. So it was wonderful to hear that she was able to pick up on him, and the fact that he's taking the time to be so close to myself and my life was just inspiring to hear.
And I believe we all have superpowers. The level to which we are aware of them varies from person to person. When we talked about having our feet on the ground and our head in the clouds at the same time, and how both of those things are possible. If you have one or the other too much, you're either rooted too much here or too much there. But it's that balance of being able to work within the known and entertain the unknown and find that bridge where we bring them together in human experience.